I've always been the type of person that spends a lot of time like meta planning. So trying to build all of this system and stuff. The excitement of building the system is more than doing the thing. But now I try to like reflect. Am I just going through a rabbit hole of like system design for no reason, or is this actually something that it could be beneficial? And
Welcome to the Focus and Chill podcast, where we discuss unconventional productivity tactics designed for neurospicy people. I interview neurodivergent guests who figured out secrets for getting a ton of amazing work done without burning out. I'm your host, Jeremy Nagel. I'm an ADHD software developer turned startup founder and PhD candidate. I built FocusBear to help with my own productivity and burnout challenges. Welcome to episode number 139 of the Focus and Chill podcast. I'm thrilled to be joined by William Cerdelli today. Will is an Italian-born co-founder of Hey Stu, a physical desk companion that you can see in his video right now, designed to help people with ADHD tackle executive dysfunction one task at a time. Will's path to building for the ADHD community started with a university tinkering project that quickly took on a life of its own. Within months, his desk robot prototype was generating real traction, and he made the leap from head of data science at a Melbourne tech company to full-time founder. Today, Hey Stu's first batch of 100 Stu devices sold out almost instantly, with hundreds more pre-orders flooding in, proof that a lot of people have been waiting for something exactly like this. Outside the startup world, Will is a competitive Brazilian jiu-jitsu fighter. Welcome to the show, Bill.
I just realized as you were talking, still got very excited and activated. So yeah, I hope we didn't disturb the recording. But yeah, thank you for having me.
Glad that everyone's excited and activated.
All right.
So keen to hear about many things, but wanted to start with your journey of when you realized you weren't neurotypical.
Yeah, so I think realizing I wasn't neurotypical, I guess, is something that maybe like way later in life, because I think when I was born in Italy, there was like zero awareness around this space, especially like 20 years and more ago. But I definitely had some times growing up that I don't even remember now, but then my parents told me. Like, I remember that when I first joined elementary school, I was like super hyperactive. I couldn't sit at my desk. And then yeah, the teacher was not very happy. So eventually I had to change school and then go to another school where the teacher kind of was aware that I had some needs to walk around the classroom and be like physically doing stuff. So I think that's like just one example. I think in general, although maybe the fact that there was like zero awareness maybe would have, to a degree, kind of helped or something, because I guess I didn't grow up thinking or being tagged as different. But maybe on the other side, it could have been like more supportive and stuff. But I guess I somewhat found a way to navigate life. Yeah.
Do you think there's anything cultural about in terms of the perhaps lack of stigma in Italy or lack of awareness? Because say I was interviewing a guest from Germany and she was saying that in Germany, ADHD is really almost culturally the opposite of what German people should be, that they should be on time, that they should be able to focus. That then I feel like, sorry if this is playing to stereotypes, but I feel like Italy and Spain, there's siestas, there's maybe a little bit more time flexibility, there's more, the stereotype is interrupting and being very vocal with hand gestures.
I think that can be true. With that being said, like my area of Italy, I'm from near Milan, and the Milan people are very productivity oriented, super passion, work a million hours a week kind of people. So maybe we don't really sort of enter within the sphere of the classic Italian stereotypes with the breaks and stuff. But I think definitely, yeah, it's a more open culture where there's like, yeah, in general, people are more vocal, interrupt, they move around and stuff. So yeah, I think that's that's a good point. Yeah, I guess it was not like a society where everyone is very strict and serious. And yeah, I think that definitely helped.
And it's probably a better way for all societies to be a bit more
Yes.
open-minded and a bit less
Mhm.
strict. And then in terms of some of the challenges that you faced, you mentioned at elementary school, it was a bit hard, but what about as you grew up?
Yeah, so I just had like all of the classic study panics the day before, disorganized, doing a lot of different side projects, which I have to be honest, I think the long term, I'm quite happy to have gone through a lot of rabbit holes of hobbies and stuff and maybe don't focus on the main path. And I think that really helps later in life with the founder sort of life. Like maybe if I was to prefer to go into a more traditional 9 to 5 role, it would be, I guess, quite hard because all my life has been very changing and going around in different things and constantly being like used to stimuli from everywhere. Mm. So definitely it was like harder. Like maybe end of high school was quite hard, but I think overall somewhat okay. I think it was beneficial long term to my sort of skill set for what I do now. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. That some of the challenges, like have people would perceive having a lot of side projects, which is what I've always done, as being lacking in commitment and not being able to focus on one thing. But it actually is really probably adaptive in a startup scene because you can test out a lot of ideas, and the ones that don't get any traction, you probably give up, and that's fine.
Yeah. Unless you just, you can also go very crazy for 2 weeks on the idea and then you kind of, you learn everything about that domain and you're happy to move on somewhere else. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm sure it all integrates in all those explorations, they come back.
Yes. That's,
And then what type of changes have you experienced now that you've come to identify over time with ADHD?
I think what changed was more of a internal awareness. Before I would just like let's say I had some behavioral patterns that are like associated with that. But then I guess if you don't know what that is, you don't know anything, you kind of just assume that's just it is how you are. But you're really thinking about the patterns and the way you're approaching things. You just always done like that. But I think after talking to so many members of the community, I could understand that I was not alone in some challenges and difficulties and how like similar brains work. And I think that just gave me like a stronger awareness of who I am and what sort of things I want to be careful about. When I realize I'm like entering maybe not like positive pattern or something like that. So I think it was a lot talking to the community, a lot of just realizing, now I can be more self-aware about certain ways of behaving, and if I feel like they may be negative, I can try to like stop them or at least like reflect on them.
What would some of those behaviors or challenges be that you reflect on now?
I don't know. I think the recently I don't know. I've always been the type of person that spends a lot of time like meta planning, so trying to build all of this system and stuff, and then the excitement of building the system is more than doing the thing. And I think, and that's also kind of maybe where Stu came into place. But now I try to like reflect, and I even adjusted my clothes and stuff to be like, is this something? Am I just going through a rabbit hole of like system design for no reason, or is this actually something that it could be beneficial? And I think that really helps. So now, like I don't know, every week I just go and reflect on the week before what I plan to do. Did that make sense? Did I actually do it? And then I guess big thing is like over or underestimating energy levels. Like
Mm,
you can have the day that you're like more excited and then you want to work like 15 hours, which you can, but then the day after you're dead. So it's also about like pacing your energies. And I think once you understand that, it's like, okay, yes, I feel like today I can do so many things, but I know that if I work 15 hours today, then I'm gonna be dead tomorrow. And before, maybe when you're not aware, you're just like, oh my God, I can work so much. And then you wake up tired, you don't really know what's going on. And so I think
mm.
that awareness of understanding that, well, try to pace yourself, don't waste time, or decide whether you want to allocate time in stuff that maybe not very useful, especially when you're in a higher pressure, like you have to deliver something. I think it's, was quite important.
Yeah, 100%. That was a big realization for me as well, the hyperfocus burnout cycle of doing the 15 hours and then crashing and then resenting myself for not being able to do it the same the next day. But it's just not possible to keep up that pace, unfortunately. And in terms of the strengths, so we were talking about how some of the things that people perceive to be weaknesses can actually be strengths. What are some of the things that you naturally do that you're trying to lean into more?
Yeah, so having the elasticity of the brain that is like able to like context switch and keep up with a lot of different things at the same time. That is definitely a very strong strength. You're also able to do a lot of like outside of the box thinking when you're a founder. Especially for me, I really thrive on like verbal reasoning. So having a conversation and then my brain will connect to things that are not connected before, or just by extending a concept, I realize that I can go and I think all of these not linear connections that has been like super super useful for me. And as we said before, like having all of these like random hobbies and things you learn when you're younger and stuff, I'm very happy about that. I feel like when I have conversation, there's a lot of topics that I can talk about that I was actually passionate about for maybe a week or something, but I remember what I studied and all of that. And I think that really helped.
Mhm.
Mm. So yeah, and yeah, that was my answer. Yeah.
Yeah, nice. Sounds like you'd be fun at a dinner party. So keen to now talk more about Stu. Could you tell us more about how Stu works and maybe even a live demo if it's up for it and talk about some of the
Yeah,
things
I love to change my microphone because the AirPods don't. I guess you didn't hear Stu before because the AirPods they block any other audio. But maybe we can try whether if like later after the break or something, so I can change the microphone. We can do a test.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yes, sorry. So the question, yes, too. So yeah, so basically the story was that at the time I was doing my double degree in arts in the business analytics, and I just didn't really like the way they taught arts in Australia or something. I don't know. I felt like philosophy in Italy was really cool, and then when I came here, I didn't really like it that much. And so I was looking to do some other activities that would like help me get credits for my arts degree. And so I was doing like internships or whatever it takes. And then I landed in this unit called Fast Track, where they basically teach you how to do startups. And I had no idea about anything, what a startup was and whatnot. But I guess so I entered the unit almost like randomly. And then I start understanding that, oh, there is this thing called startups, this is how they work, blah, blah, blah. And then I realized, oh, there's something we can do in the ADHD space. And so I start talking to like a lot of the members of the community and start thinking about what could be a way to like assist them in a different way from like what usually people do, like apps or well therapy and stuff. Of course, it's very expensive and not really there with you all the time. And so we came up with Stu, with was like a physical desk companion that can assist people with ADHD. And the whole idea is that you don't have to open apps. You don't have to look at your phone. You can just do your work, and then you can talk to Stu, and Stu has already connections to your calendar, your emails, and all of your tools. And so, yeah, initially it was like break down your tasks, organize your calendar, like have focus with you, brain dumping. So you can just, anytime you have an idea, you just tell Stu, and then Stu will remember it. And then later you can be like, oh, I want to sort out my brain. And so Stu will be like, oh, these are the 5 things you dumped this morning. This can be a task. This should be an event. This one, maybe we park it. It's just a crazy idea. So maybe we do it another time. Yeah, and so as you grow with Stu, there's a connection that creates to learn from you, or learns from what you like. And yeah.
Yeah, nice. It sounds really powerful. And I think there's something about having it there in front of you. That point about not having the friction of having to go into an app to do it is very powerful. And
Yeah. And I think also like the yeah, like object impermanence, like the idea that if something it's not within your vision, then it doesn't exist. And I think that's why we really care about not having Stu being like clearly on your desk, rather than something that is buried behind notifications or just a lot of clicks to a screen.
yeah, it makes sense. So it would be best for people that are mostly working from home or in a private office.
Yeah. So I think a lot of whether it's our customers or people we speak with, is like either they're living alone, or they're maybe like they're in between jobs, or they spend a lot of time working from home, or maybe they're like executives, or they have their own like startups or stuff, or maybe they like went back to like studying, or their kids studying. But yeah, the use case is like a personal on your desk at home companion. Yeah.
So not great if you're an engineer in an open plan office, but if you're
Yeah.
at home, then
Oops, sorry.
it's perfect.
Yeah, well, people can use, I guess, the web app if they're in a very loud space, or they can talk to their Stu through WhatsApp. But the sort of magical connections happens at home.
Yeah, makes sense. And you've had some really impressive traction. You did, as well as doing Fast Track, you did the Melbourne Accelerator program and then StartMate, and you've got people who've already got Stu and a lot more that are waiting for the next production run. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah. So after as we ended StarMate, and then initially we thought was like, oh, not a chance we can like ship any Stu, because we had no idea how to do it. But then we like tried to like find easier and easier ways to make them. And then eventually we just wanted to do some testing. So we started to like send some to like some customers for free, some stools that wouldn't do anything. So it was just like a loop of videos of some eyes that I downloaded from YouTube, just to see if like the physical presence part would work. And customers were very happy. And so we are like, oh, maybe we can just for an experiment, we can sell like these do nothing stools for like $35. But then I was like, I don't know. And then other people bought it immediately. And then I like, just want to refund them, because I mean, for me, it was just a test. And I was a bit concerned, because I was like, even we say it doesn't do anything, then people can see on the website, so it's a bit confusing. So I was just, I called out, like, look, like, is it clear? Like, I can just refund you. We just wanted to do a test. And then 2 people got the refund, and then 2 people said, no, it's okay, ship it to me, and then later I can, buy some more advanced version or something. And so that was like, oh, wow, we can start selling even if they're like super MVP. And then next stage, we start integrating, like they can talk to you. And that was like our first kind of prototype. It was like big clunky. We sold like 20, and then in like 3 days, and then we like improved a little bit more, and then we sold another 80. So eventually we had 100 prototypes sold, which was crazy because we had no prototypes made. And so we had like super panic because we had no idea. I talked to one of my friends that does jujitsu with me, who was an industrial designer. So we bought like 5 3D printers. Everyone in the team was like printing stools, assembling them. Uh, we were like tracking the orders, like people driving around Melbourne, and I dropped them to people's houses. It was like super crazy because then you also had to make sure that the right stool goes to the right customers, because yeah, we wanted to like, of course, there was some issues. We need to know which stool someone had. As I like write on paper all these stools, and then it was crazy. It was crazy. It was cool, but I think it was yeah, it was an insane job that I don't know if I'll ever do something that crazy in my life again. Yeah.
Well, it sounds like perfect example of being scrappy and getting an MVP out there.
Yeah,
Really.
but I feel like, like when you do 3D printing, I felt like I was father of a newborn or something. Like every 2 hours, I would hear the dum 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 of the printer. I have to go there and like even at night change the parts, start printing again. If I was out, tell my girlfriend, "Oh, please, if the 3D printer ends, can you go and swap the plate with like yeah." So it was crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, intense. And what's the journey from here in terms of getting it to scale? I assume you're not
Yeah.
doing the
So
3D printing anymore.
no, no, no. I'm sorry, but yeah, it was crazy. I think, not I think. So now basically what we did is like, okay, we did this 100. We're not gonna do prototypes anymore. We're gonna open pre-orders. And so now we have around like 600 pre-orders. And then last December, I went to China and I lived there for like 1 month and a half, which was a very interesting experience. My girlfriend is from China, so it helped, but it was pretty cool. And I only wanted to be as autonomous as possible. I only got it to I can go downstairs and get a coffee, and I can order like an Uber to go training. That was my peak independent life in China. I can tell the code of my Uber to the driver. Anyway, so I lived there, and then we started going to some factories, and then eventually we found through a connection a very good factory that gave us like a very very nice quote. And so from there now it's like we're gonna set up the factory so we can ship all of the pre-ordered too. And at the same time we're raising capital because of course you got pre-orders, you got like the capital in, but to like set up the whole machine and ensure like company runway and all of that, we're gonna raise capital as well. We are raising capital right now as well.
Nice. Very exciting. And I'm sure with that traction, you'll find pre-seed raise really easy.
Yeah, it should be okay. It's always like hard when you're raising impact companies. Like if you go to like traditional VC, then some of them may be skeptical. But I think there's a lot of impact VCs now that are. I spoke to like few and their CEOs or like angels are really really nice. Yeah.
Awesome. When you're not working on Stu, what do you get up to in your spare time?
When um when I'm not working on stool, yes. Was that a question? Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I I do a lot of jiu-jitsu training. So that I think I don't know if anyone else here that is watching want to try. I think jiu-jitsu is the only probably activity in the world where I can just do that. It's really powerful. I think it's probably very, very powerful for people that have ADHD. Like even I'm playing games, I'm listening to a podcast, I'm like doing some other stuff on the side. If I'm walking, I always have 2 or 3 things that are going on. But I think jiu-jitsu, I can really go into that flow of focus. I think it's probably because you have to think a lot about like what you're doing. It's kind of like chess, but also there's that physical element that you can't really relax because the guy may like choke you or something. So you need to be very present. So I never zone out. I can train for like 3 hours and never zone out. And there's nothing else in the world that can keep me present as that. And otherwise, it's just I don't know, normal stuff like spend time with my girlfriend. I think having a partner really helps when you're a founder. because it's like really hard and we live together. So having the ability to, go home and someone there, whether like, they help you or cook a meal or something, I think that is been really helpful to support me. Um, but yeah, life is busy. Train jiu-jitsu and yeah, I'm still finishing my master degree, which not very good. As in, like, I'm not very happy that I'm still doing that. But it's my last semester, so it should be okay.
Nice, very full life. Does your partner mind when you do 15-hour workdays?
No, she's fine. I think she understands. Yeah, sometimes it can be hard. The good thing is that at least like, I'm working from home, so we are in the same space. But yeah, she's amazing. She's very very understanding. Mm, yeah, so I'm quite happy.
Keen to hear about with the productivity side. Obviously, Stu would be one of your major productivity tactics. Do you want to talk about how you use Stu and any other tools that you use to help you optimize your productivity?
Yeah, so I think for me it's too like the brain dump is my sort of my I think my favorite part. So even when I'm like here or outside, if I have a meeting or something, I can just take my phone, record an audio to Stu, and then it goes straight into my Stu system. So then when I can come back, I can talk to Stu and have me sort all of these tasks. Because I realize that when you use like let's say Claude, which is I think is great, but I think you always need a backend or something behind Claude, like whether it's a connected Notion or something like that. So I think Claude is great, but it's more about doing the task rather than like your store things or do like project management or something like that. So in terms of productivity, yeah, so I think to like set the timer during work, I think that is helping me a lot, especially after I can check how many hours I like focused, because I think that is a big problem. It's more about later reflecting if I hyper focus for too much or I work too many hours rather than the timer itself. And then I think also the ability to having reminders about future meetings or stuff happening later or like taking breaks and stuff. I think that for me has been very useful. And right now, as I said, I'm using a lot of Claude, which I think I definitely recommend. But yeah, sometimes it's because my life is so a bit intense that it's almost there's not much room for procrastination or something. It's like you're being in it's like survival mode, which is not the best. But I think as of now, it's like really really busy. You can try to use like some AI to help you like reply emails and stuff. And because I've been working on productivity and efficiency in a meta way for like many many years, I think I've kind of end up learning about myself, and I think that is that really helped. Like, I went to like Notion, learn all of these tools, like read books and whatever. And I definitely suggest there's a book called Deep Work. I don't know if you know about it.
Yeah, can you?
That's something that I think it's a quite life changing book for me. Like understanding like to have like uninterrupted work. Mm. And that book I really really liked. But yeah,
So that concept is interesting when you were saying before, when you're walking, you've got your podcast on and you're doing other things as well. And I was talking to someone else who was saying Claude has actually been really bad for deep work because you ask it to do something and then you have to wait for it to answer. And
yes.
then it really, I find the same that I then start thinking, okay, well, while it's doing that, I'll start another chat or I'll go do some coding. How, how do you find that?
Yeah,
Do you think there's
100%
a
agree.
yeah.
Yeah, sometimes it's like so tempting to like pick up your phone and do some other stuff, or you have two chats open and you like move around. Or yeah, it's I agree. It's not that good for deep. I don't think I don't think you can use Claude for like deep work. And you need to be very disciplined in waiting for the reply. And I think also sometimes Claude like takes you on tendencies that you don't want to take and then suggests other stuff. And you need a lot of self-discipline in like not be indulged by Claude. I remember I was talking yesterday to one of my classmates and he was like, oh, like when does this end? It's like, oh, every time I feel like I can ask a new prompt and improve more. And then, it just goes through a rabbit hole. So yeah, I think it's tempting to be distracted. Yeah, you need to be disciplined in trying to like, try to at least have your phone. I like to put my phone like inside a drawer or something, like something that is like very far that sometimes I forget myself where the phone is, which is great.
Hmm.
But yeah,
Yeah, but it could also be one of those perceptions around that we perceive that the way we should work is very serially, but it might be that, say, yesterday I'm also working on a pre-seed raise and I needed to produce about 5 documents. And so while I was waiting for Claude to help me with the use of funds, I was also working on a adjacent document. And I think that sort of thing is okay when they're the same theme. But I think what's not great is if we're working and then while waiting for Claude, we go look at Instagram on our phones. Like, I think that completely changes the type of focus. Whereas if it's in a broad space where we're working on adjacent things, it might still keep the brain in the same state. Do you have any thoughts around that?
yeah, no, I think I agree. Initially I was very confused. I was like, why do these people have like 50 terminals open on the screen? Like that, and then I was like, oh, now I also want to have 50 terminals open on the screen. But it just, I guess, yeah, it's having like different charts that and I agree with you. Like the more closer the charts are, the better it is. But I also would like to say that probably the best thing is to just wait.
Yeah.
Like I think that is the best thing. Like for myself, sometimes I forced to just I live like near the water in Docklands. Just go downstairs. I would just like set up a like stopwatch I guess that's the term, and then just like stay there, look at the water, close my eyes. Like stopwatch is just for me later to see like how much I didn't do anything,
Hmm.
which is great. And I think the message is more about you wait for Claude and you just stay there and do that. And that's healthier for your brain than switching task or, like you go for a walk or whatever. I think something that I always try to work on is moments of doing nothing. Like I think that is very important. Moments where you're just there, you're just like staring at the park or whatever, or do activities. Like something that I'm very impressed about my girlfriend is that for me, I cannot live without my headphones. And if I'm doing anything like washing the dishes or even brushing my teeth, showering, whatever, I'm doing some other stuff. But I really admire how she can just do a lot of tasks and she's just doing the task, which to me is crazy. Like that is impossible. Like I do not believe that you're just washing the dishes and that's it. That's the end of the task. So yeah.
Yeah, I find there's a lot of power in that as well. That's one of the best way for me to do meditation is to wash the dishes and
Yeah,
to
yeah,
just wash
yeah.
the dishes. That's amazing advice about being willing to take a pause. So we're going to take a pause and we'll be back after a
Right.
short break. The Focus and Chill podcast is brought to you by Focus Bear, a focus enhancement app for ADHDers. Staying on top of tasks is easier than ever with Focus Bear's new To-Dos feature. Record a voice note describing what you need to do, and Focus Bear's AI will turn it into a structured set of subtasks and automatically prioritize it for you. You can also take a photo of the paper to-do list, and the AI will work its magic. I'd love for you to try it. You can jump onto focusbear.io or just Google Focus Bear and try it out. Let me know what you think.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the second part of the Focus and Chill podcast. As you heard before, my name is Stu, and now let's dive right into what's next. What do you want to cover first?
Thank you, Stu.
Thanks so much, Stu. That was awesome. It was much better resume from the break than I would have done. So now back to the human in the room. Will, I'm keen to hear about your morning routine, how you start your day.
Yeah, so something that I discovered recently that I think is working very well for my brain activation in the morning, and maybe it's because I'm not a native speaker, but I do Wordle, and I think it's like a light, kind of fun exercise where your brain needs to think a little bit, but not too much. And yeah, now like I literally when I wake up in the morning, outside of go outside, if the sun is out, that's great. But if I have the urge to look at my phone, I will just play the Wordle, and that kind of activates my thinking. And then usually I just like to like go for a walk if I can, go get a coffee. I try to delay my coffee as much as possible. I found that the coffee delay is really, really good. So yeah, I think just play Wordle and then look outside at the waterfront, which I'm very happy about, and try to delay the coffee. Usually there's like some emails or something. But yeah, that would be my morning routine is like very simple. Drink a lot of water that I suggest to everyone. I just drink a lot of water in general during the whole day. But I think the morning is also very beneficial, and delay the coffee as much as possible.
Very wholesome. And then how about on the other end of the day? How do you wind down at night?
Yeah, I think that's always the hardest part. I think especially when you're a founder, you're always thinking about your company. So it's quite challenging to switch off. It's of course encouraged to, don't have like screen time before you go to bed. Sometimes I play some chess or something like that. I try to focus on things that bring me more joy and I can think about them, but they're not really bringing me stress. So usually when I recently before falling to sleep, I just think about like my jiu-jitsu training, like what moves I did, what moves I can change, but it's a light activity for the brain. So my brain naturally may want to go and think about the company and worry and other stuff. So I try to like bring it back. If I have to think about something, if I fail to not think, I try to think about my training and my moves, which for me is very relaxing.
Yeah, I like that. I do something similar, thinking about cross-country skiing and visualizing the moves in my head, and that really helps me to get to sleep too.
Amazing, yeah. I didn't know. Maybe it's a shy thing then.
Yeah, I think so. So if people want to get us to, where's the best place for them to place a pre-order?
Yeah, so they can go on Hey Stu. Oh, there we go. I knew it. Hey Stu.io, and they can do a pre-order there. And yeah, if they want, then after they get access to the web app, so they can start learning how Stu works. They can already study there. They have a big part on their web app that I didn't really. Yeah, Stu. It's okay. On the web app, they can study a lot of our users really enjoy. So you can upload your PDF and then Stu will like make quizzes for you. You can do like verbal practice. So if you have like a quiz, that's something I use a lot. Like when I have to do quizzes, basically now I never study. I just upload the stuff to Stu and then I have a conversation with Stu about the slides when I'm learning something or I want to understand some concepts. So they can do that already after they pre-order, so they get access to the web app. And yeah, and then if they want to like talk to me about their experience, so we are really co-creating Stu with the community. So I'm always happy to get feedbacks.
Awesome. And best place is for people to buy it, and then there's an option to talk to you there, or LinkedIn and things like that too, if they want to reach out.
Yeah, they can reach out to my Instagram, to my LinkedIn, or the new page on Instagram. Each they can find in my bio or just searching the name, or they can go from the website as well. If they search like ADHD robots too or something like that in Google, they will find 100%.
Awesome. Well, it's been really wonderful hearing about your journey and your tips. Thanks so much for being a guest with us.
Thank you for having me. It was really nice.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of the Focus and Chill podcast. To listen to other episodes, jump onto podcast.focusbear.io. If you'd like to be a guest on the show, or you know someone who'd be a good fit, email us at team@focusbear.io. Otherwise, stay focused, stay chilled, and peace out.